Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I just wanted to come on and make a quick video because I haven't done one in about 2 weeks. And today it was a quite significant day for my collection. I've sold all of my LaserDiscs. So for those who don't know what LaserDiscs are, they're those big kind of record-sized discs that are kind of like the OG DVDs. And yeah, sold them all, and with the player. And I had to take a loss on them, so I don't really care about the loss. I don't care. It's not about the money. But it was good to get some money coming back in for selling them. I mean, I had to take a bit of a loss for what I paid for them compared to what I got back. But yeah, it was a kind of good to downsize, and it cleared up a lot of space. So yeah, there's been a part of me that's like, oh, something's missing. But then there's also a part of me that's like, but it feels good to have more space, because those laser discs were taking a lot of space, and they are also very heavy. And I sold it with the player as well. I had the working player as well, so that's also sold. But yeah, it just feels weird that I've sold all my laser discs now. You know, those things where I showed like True Lies and The Abyss and Terminator 2 and whatever. But yeah, you know, there's a part of me that's like, did I make the right choice? And while it's not going to be winning any awards this video, I think it's still significant. I mean, I mentioned downsizing, and that is a big step towards downsizing. And as I've said before, when I'm serious about downsizing, I mean it. I am downsizing. So, you know, getting rid of those were the first step. And the next step will be the wrestling VHS tapes. I may also sell my HD DVDs, perhaps. Those are HD DVDs are the format that competed against Blu-ray and lost. So I believe it was backed by Toshiba and Microsoft and maybe Warner Brothers back in the day. But it lost against Blu-ray, Sony's Blu-ray. So I've got a lot of those. I've got about 100 and something of those. Might sell those. But yeah, it just feels good when you clear that much space. When you clear, like, the laser discs were taking up vinyl-sized space, and they were also very heavy, and I wasn't viewing them that often. I was watching maybe one every 5 years or something. So to me, it made sense. But my experience with LaserDisc is I experienced Young Frankenstein on it for the first time, Gene Wilder. I believe it's Young Frankenstein. I believe that's what it's called. But yeah, there's a lot of things I experienced for the first time on LaserDisc, and that was pretty cool. So I've got to experience the format. I also watched Get Shorty for the first time on that format 5 years ago, because I had never watched Get Shorty, or I tried to watch it back when I was a teenager, and just never went to it. So watched that on LaserDisc for the first time. And also, you know, I was very much an advocate for, like, True Lies and stuff on that, like the big box stuff. But yeah, I also made a LaserDisc video that I will link at the end of this, and maybe you want to go back and have a brief look at some of my talking about LaserDisc. But yeah, it feels good. I don't know what the feeling necessarily feels like right now, but it feels good that I've actually taken that first step. And that's sometimes the hardest part as a collector. You know, I've been talking about putting all of the DVDs in, you know, slip covers or slip sleeves. So you take them out of these plastic cases, you keep the art, you keep the disc, you keep everything inside, and you throw out these plastic covers, and you put them in something that's about 1/8 the size. And it works. And I'm about, I don't know, I'm not going to do it with every DVD, but I'm doing it with most DVDs. I'm probably about 60% through, and there's still a lot to go. There is a lot here. It's probably going to take another 500-600 of them to actually do every one I want to do. But yeah, you know, when you start looking at the space you're starting to clear, it becomes very apparent that this is a good move. And yeah, I don't, it's not a, there's a part of me that's also like, yeah, down the line I might say, oh, that was a bit of a mistake to sell for that cheap. But at the end of the day, I am starting to curate my collection, and for me, laser discs were taking up a big portion of space, and I wasn't viewing them. They were more of the, look, gotcha, to the other collectors of YouTube. Do you have laser discs? Do you have VCDs? Do you have HD DVDs, you know? And when you're not actually viewing them, when you're not actually using them, they should be with a collector who is viewing them, you know? That is how I view it. And yes, so that is my whole mentality on why I sold the LaserDiscs. And also some money coming back in. That, don't get me wrong, the money coming in was good. But, and for reference, I had about 147 LaserDiscs, and some of them were like Star Wars and stuff like that. Nightmare on Elm Street was probably valued worth more, so easily, if he decided to sell them on, he could make his money back. That's pretty cool. But for me, I just wanted to be rid of him, and that's part of the thing. I sold him for $8.50 with the player, and I feel like I made the right choice because I am starting to tell my mind, no, you are going to stick to your word of downsizing. And that's also a good thing. Like when you start, not convincing yourself, but when you start seeing results and when you start seeing like the little changes in your personality when it comes to collecting, you start to understand that, yeah, you know what? I don't need everything. You know what? I'm not watching DVD. You know what? I want to keep the DVDs, but I'm having them in a sleeve where I can very easily access it, and having an MKV version, for example, can be a better option. And yes, I don't think this video is going to be all that impressive, but you know, the last one I posted was like 10 days ago or something, so I said I should probably do an update, and today was a significant update in my collection, so yeah, well, all the LaserDiscs are gone. They're with a new collector, they're in a new house. And that's the thing. There is still parts of me that's like, okay, one down. Next is the wrestling videotapes, where I've got basically every wrestling pay-per-view on VHS. And I've already sold some, but they're going to be difficult because not every wrestling collector wants every videotape. So I'm going to have to do years or certain events like Royal Rumbles in one collection, which is going to be difficult. And when I start thinking about the Blu-ray portion of my collection, I'm starting to think that maybe I don't have to put these into sleeves. Maybe I can, when I've cleared, for example, the VHS tapes that are under my TV, I could maybe use that space to house some of the Blu-rays I don't actually watch that often and keep them in their cases, these, and, you know, maybe down the line I can put them on a shelf, you know? But that's how I'm starting to view this, and that's how I'm starting to feel like, you know, the space I'm clearing now could be repurposed and could be potentially a good option. But when I start thinking about this, I start seeing results, and the wrestling DVDs I've also done. I've also very much folded down a lot of the wrestling DVDs, so I am keeping all the wrestling DVDs. I have thought about maybe selling 2022 and 2023's pay-per-view lineup because they're hard to get in Australia because you have to import them. I thought about selling those, but then at the end of the day, I might just keep them because I will have a complete set of all the pay-per-views, and that's kind of cool for me. And, you know, there are times where I will go back and watch my wrestling pay-per-views. I'm also not folding down the WrestleManias. So, you know, the big paper boxes, I'm keeping those out. They will probably be under the TV. I'll move those or figure out something. I'm also not folding down. I can see them behind the door. I can see The Simpsons. I can see Family Guy. Like, there's certain things I'm not folding down. And when you start curating and you start making those decisions and making those calls on the spot about what's important to you, that's when you start seeing results and you start to really feel you're getting control of your collection again. And I get this isn't for everyone. I get not everyone's going to take the same method I did. But yeah, I just thought it was worth coming on here and giving you guys an update because you guys, it's still surprising me that you guys love hearing what I talk about. And yeah, no idea what I'm doing with the Blu-rays yet. I'm still working that out. I haven't even started with the Blu-rays because I don't want to make a mistake. With the Blu-rays, these are my babies, you know, these are the crown jewel of my collection. The DVDs, not so much. I mean, it's good to have DVDs, but it's not like I'm sitting there watching DVDs actively. It's more, I'll go for the Blu-ray. But yeah, so yeah, the new channel without LaserDiscs. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was worth coming on and making a video about it because, yeah, haven't done one in a while. I will put something at the end, And yeah, hope you will stick around and see what else I get rid of next. I'm going to go over here because I want to keep this as the background when I put that LaserDisc video. So actually, let's move that over here. I'm just going to move that there. Thanks for watching. Bye.